education is personal development using forms of cultural expression, arts, and playing. It is general education because it enables children and young people to relate to themselves and to the world through playing, arts, and culture. Every country on earth is trying to figure out how do we educate our children so they have a sense of cultural identity, and so that we can pass on the cultural genes of our communities while being part of the process of globalization. Why is cultural education important? Cultural education important because students who learn about different cultures during their education feel more comfortable and safe with these differences later in life.
In public education, the current system was designated conceived system for different age, and it was conceived an intellectual culture of the enlightened and the economic circumstance open industrial revolution in the middle of 19th century. There is no system of public education, not sure if they don't have money to pay for the taxation and have compulsory to everyone and for the point of delivery, because this is the revolution of idea and the people said it's not possible. Public education means that a population that is better educated has less unemployment, reduced dependence on public assistance programs, and greater tax revenue.
The modern epidemic. It's similar to an outbreak. An epidemic is defined by being contained in a small population, but the number of cases is larger than normally expected. Children with ADHD may have trouble paying attention, controlling impulsive behavior, or may act without thinking about the result will be, or be overly active. With ADHD, however, it's really all about the frequency and the severity and the extent to which such behavior interfere with home, school, and social life. So sometimes people think ADHD is overdiagnosed because diagnoses have been increased over time. They say ADHD is caused by parenting. All the child needs is good discipline, which is a myth. That's why if you notice a lot of children experiencing violence due to their reaction, but they never been heard and understood. So it's a myth. ADHD is not caused by bad parenting, but parenting techniques can often improve some symptoms and make others worse. That's the fact of ADHD.
Next, fictitious epidemic. Generation today where kids are exposed and medicated by modern technologies, they're surrounded with information which has caused them to be distracted in schools. They consider listening to teachers' discussion a boring one and think that it would not benefit them. Why? Because all of their attention was all in gadgets. They are highly influenced with the modern technologies, which they have felt fun and enjoyable, and it would really affect their performance in school. Some would say that these kids are having ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, wherein it is a condition that affects people's behavior. People with ADHD can seem restless and has trouble in concentrating. Well, I believe that there's a lot of reason aside from that. Therefore, I can say it's not an epidemic, but it's a fictitious epidemic wherein you choose to medicate a problem, which is only a problem because you labeled it as one.
The arts especially address the idea of aesthetic experience. An aesthetic experience is one in which your senses are operating at their peak. When you're present in the current moment, when you are resonating with the excitement of this thing that you are experiencing, when you are fully alive. And according to Ken Robinson, the fact is that given the challenges we face, education doesn't need to be reformed. It needs to be transformed. The key to this transformation is not to standardize education, but to personalize it, to build achievement on discovering the individual talents of each child, to put students in an environment where they want to learn and where they can naturally discover their true passion. As a future educator, if aesthetic experience is linked to all the senses, or at least more senses, then I guess we are trying to wake up our students through providing aesthetic experience.
Now lastly, we have the divergent thinking. Now let us first break down the term divergent. Now divergent can be defined as to develop in different directions. And if we add to that thinking, which is using our brain, and add to that the term design problem, then we can simply assume that divergent thinking is developing ideas by exploring the design problem in multiple directions. Now, a divergent thinking doesn't only focus on a single solution or a single answer. Rather, a divergent thinker focuses and offers various answers and various solutions to a certain problem or a question. If you want to explore your divergent thinking, then take the paperclip test. This is coming up with multiple ways on using a paperclip. Most people would come up to 10 to 15 reasons, while allegedly, a genius could come up to 200 reasons. Just imagine. Now let's give some examples on how can we use a paperclip. Now we could use paperclip as is, as a paperclip, a bookmark, a hair clip, and it could also be used as cleaning our fingernails. So those are just some of the reasons on how to use a paperclip. Now these questions, if answered by a divergent thinker, would lead to so many solutions and so many answers. Now as a whole, divergent thinking is seeing lots of ways in how to interpret and answer a question.